The Inkatha Freedom Party in the City of Joburg is urging the Mayor, Kabelo Gwamanda, to abide by the decision of the High Court on City Manager Floyd Brink. The party's caucus leader says this will go a long way in resorting stability in the city's administration. This week, the Gauteng High Court ruled that Brink's appointment is unlawful and unconstitutional, and he intends to appeal that ruling. Well, let's hear further from the IFP's Joburg Caucus Leader now, Mlungisi Mabaso. Good afternoon, Mlungisi. Welcome to today, and thank you very much for your time. So, has there been any response to your call for an urgent council meeting to deal with this matter?
No, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you and to the viewers at home. Well, they have not responded, but what they've done, they went on to file an application to appeal the judgment. And we are feeling that as the IFP, that is the waste of time. I mean, the court judgment is very clear from the inception that we need to convene in a period of 10 days for council to consider the judgment and appoint the acting city manager while we are dealing with the substantive matters that involve the current city manager. And I think the mayor and the speaker need to adhere to that, and convene an urgent council meeting so that we are able to respond to the court judgment as presented by the judge, because that will bring instability in the administration. I mean, we cannot rely now on the city manager that we are not sure whether he's staying or going, because even the leave of appeal, we are not sure whether it's going to be granted, and that alone exacerbates the instabilities that we have enjoyed in the city of Johannesburg.
Why don't you wait for the court process to run its course?
Well, the reality is that, even them, the mayor and the speaker, they know what transpired during the appointment of the actions of the city manager at the time. The processes were not properly followed. The processes were flouted. And that's why court, in fact, judged, in the favor of the Democratic Alliance. And we cannot, in fact, dispute that. And they must not dispute that because they know exactly what had transpired when the council took place at the time. So we do not have that luxury of time to wait for court to decide the future of the administration in the city of Johannesburg. And this, poses a serious, risk, in terms of service delivery, because it creates instabilities. And we believe that, as the political parties or as politicians in the city of Johannesburg, we need to make sure that we bring in stability in the city and make sure that we appoint the city manager, following the right processes and not flout processes. And that's why we are calling for them to convene this urgent meeting so that we are able to conclude and finalize this matter.
But the city has already filed court papers applying for leave to appeal. Even if you had an urgent council meeting, that's what they will use as a defense. Do you think you will succeed in having this meeting?
Well, that's what we are saying. I mean, why it's a waste of time for us. Why they are appealing this decision? Because the very same court judgment is affording a council meeting to deal with substantive matters that relates to the city manager. So the council, the court has afforded us that opportunity as council, and the court is further saying, in the meantime, while we are dealing with these matters, let's appoint an acting city manager. And that's why we are saying it was really not necessary for the city, to make an application for a leave to, and we are not even sure if that leave to appeal will be granted or not.
So you don't agree with the council's position that the grounds on which the court has found Mr. Brink's appointment to be unlawful are not valid, that they say there are several concerns with the judgment. You don't agree with them?
Well, we don't agree because we know what transpired in the council meeting where the city manager was appointed. And in fact, as the IFP, we argued to say that, the processes are being flouted here, and that's not how the appointment should be conducted because of how the matter was handled in council. So they are aware of all those things that, occurred during that council sitting. And that's why we are saying it's a waste of taxpayers' money to go to court and appeal this decision. And for us, we just need to adhere to the court decision and take the directives of the court so that we are able to bring instability within the administration.
What instability do you foresee if that doesn't happen? If they insist on maintaining the legal route and they don't convene this urgent meeting, what kind of instability do you foresee?
Well, as it currently stands, we have the city manager, whom we are not sure whether he's staying or going. I mean, how then are they expected to run the administration where you have the city manager who's not sure whether he should continue to take decisions or not, or he should be waiting for the court for another, appeal judgment, to be handed down. So those kind of uncertainty, that's what we are trying to mitigate against, to say, let's rather adhere to the court judgment so that we avoid all those risks, and all those, uncertainties that, have been developed around this court judgment.
Okay, if there's no response...
Over and above that, the previous mayoral committee, in fact, appointed Mr. Brian Maduka as the city manager, and that report never served in council because the speaker prohibited executive from tabling that report. So this matter is very complicated than what people think, in fact.
So what will you do if they don't agree to your call?
Well, we are going to write. We are just waiting to hear what they are going to do. But when we reach, the 10 days that have been afforded to us by the court, as the caucus, we are going to write to the speaker and to the mayor and ask them to adhere to the court judgment. And if they do not, adhere, then we will also seek, legal advice from our legal team in the party to see how we can then intervene and try to save the Johannesburg out of all this mess.
Thank you very much, Mlungisi Mabaso. He's, of course, the IFP Johannesburg Caucus Leader in the Johannesburg Council.